The Vancouver Regional Construction Association's 2022 Awards of Excellence Gala will be held at the Vancouver Convention Centre West on Wednesday, October 26th. Over 600 industry peers are expected to attend in order to recognize individual and company achievements and celebrate construction successes together. The awards are also a great opportunity for companies to demonstrate their commitment to quality and professionalism in local construction. For more information or to register, visit vrca.ca/AOE, call 604-293-6595, or email awards@vrca.ca. The VRCA looks forward to celebrating construction's excellence with you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Construction Record Podcast. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and we have a special pre-election Vancouver special with
Craig Mitchell, Chair of the VRCA.
Chris Atchison, President of the BC Construction Association.
Donna Grant, President of the VRCA.
And the question here, and it's a very simple one, is what do you want to see out of whoever the next administration is in Vancouver and across the province during the election? So what, for the construction industry, would you like to see from municipal governments is basically the easy version of that question. So I'll start with you.
Yeah, so it's Craig, and what I see and what I hear from members is we need to reduce red tape at City Hall when it comes to building permit submission and development permits. There's too long a lag right now, lack of transparency, and our members are asking for better timelines, more transparency, and reducing the red tape. We've got an affordable housing shortage or issue here in the province, and our builders want to build. Our members are ready to build, but without those timelines and visibility on what's happening in City Hall, we need to better streamline it, and we support any issues or any measures to accelerate that transparency on those permits.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what Craig has said about Vancouver in general, and I'll take that one step further and say that that is exactly what we need across the province. Is municipal permitting and red tape is the biggest barrier to effective construction completions. It starts, and it's eroding the confidence that the contracting community has in their ability to do business with municipalities. And so I think that's the case in Vancouver. I think that's the case in many municipalities around this province. There really needs to be a meeting of the minds to get the permitting issues and the red tape straightened out. Otherwise, there is going to be a major impact on the projects that these municipalities are trying to get built. We also need to work on affordability. People have the right to work and live in the communities in which they're expected to build. And right now, we need to continue to address those issues around affordability. So those are my two main issues.
Okay. I'd like to say that the VRCA is here to help facilitate these conversations and having the opportunity to collaborate with the city and talk about the real issues that, as you've just heard, the real issues that matter to our members. But those things aren't going to get done in a bubble in silos. We need to get together at the table and talk about these things and be heard as members of the association.
Okay, and speaking of affordability, that ties into the labor force. What do you see in terms of, you've mentioned it already in a way, that people cannot live where they work. So what are some ways that whoever it is who gets in charge can change that in terms of people, affordability-wise and labor force rules-wise?
Yeah, I think we have to make sure that we address the issues around density. If we're trying to build homes in Vancouver, they need to be structured in a way that people who can afford to live there, can come and live and work and build the communities in which they're living. I think that as it extends out from the greater Vancouver area, we also need to be careful that the smaller municipalities have the capacity to increase their density. First and foremost is that they need to look at the larger infrastructure concerns around those communities before they just start adding density. So there's a bigger picture. To Donna's point, we need to start conversing with smaller entities who are absorbing more people because they can't afford to live in some of these other centers, but they're not prepared infrastructure-wise to accept all of these people either. Mm-hmm. So a bigger table discussion needs to happen there. I think in terms of attracting new people, the only way we're going to attract people to help resolve the labor issues that we're having in construction and other sectors is to address the issues around affordability. We need to be attracting all segments of the workforce that are currently unengaged or uninspired to be engaged in the workforce. There's lots of opportunities for people to live and work in this province, and we need to inspire them to want to contribute to the economy. And the three of us here want them to be inspired to work in the construction industry because there are a tremendous number of high opportunity occupations in this sector, and we can take them all.
Greg or Donna, whoever would like to chime in first.
One of the things as far as attracting more people to our industry, I think there's a bit of some people have some outdated assumptions about what construction is. Construction as an industry is completely different than it was just a short number of years ago. And one of the things that we're going to be doing at VRCA is trying to talk to parents more and making sure that there isn't some misconception about this as a career choice for their kids, and see it as an opportunity for them to be able to afford a house in Vancouver because there's well-paying jobs in our industry.
Greg?
Yeah, I'd echo that. I mean, the young generation right now is interested in technology. We got to showcase what is happening in construction. Construction is really quite innovative. We just don't get the message out that it is. And people think it's someone standing around sometimes with a shovel and it's a dirty job. And in many cases, I would say it's not that. These are professionals, and if you kind of look under the hood and you realize how much technology and innovation goes on within our industry, it's pretty impressive. Just getting back to Chris's point too, I think in terms of the affordability and attracting people within within municipal sectors, I think we start looking at development cost charges within sectors as adding a tremendous burden on developers and the construction industry as a whole. In terms of that affordability index, I mean, well over 30% of overall construction projects account for development cost charges. So we need to reduce that. Our trades right now are getting pushed further and further out into lower, affordability areas, which, again, we have most of our trades living in the valley, commuting into Vancouver. Some of them don't even want to work in places like UBC, the North Shore, just because of our gridlock. And so we need to find ways to get the people who are building buildings and in the construction industry living in those communities. It's the commuting that's going on right now is unsustainable, and so we need to really bring people back into the community. And again, it's that Vancouver, the affordability there ends up becoming an elitist type neighborhood as a result, and we need more cross-section of people in those particular neighborhoods. So.
And finally, something I haven't heard a lot about this time around, but I have for the previous few elections, is climate change. But then again, we were cut off from the rest of the world because of climate change last year, and that's infrastructure again. So what would you like to see in terms of climate change policies that they haven't really, maybe they have, but I haven't seen a lot of it as an issue?
Well, I'll just maybe chime in. I mean, I know Vancouver's come out with their climate emergency policy, right? And so I'm in favor of, we need to do something with greenhouse gas emissions, reducing carbon, and, construction industry as a whole is one of the number one producers, operational carbon and also embodied carbon. And so we've got to change that. And so in doing so, Vancouver came out with their climate emergency. The only thing that I would comment on that is it would be great if they talked to the construction industry first before they enact policy, because we need to get on the same page, because it's great that they're enacting all these policies. We've just gone through a supply chain challenge, and now look what they've done is they've now issued all these different measures, and we don't know if what they're asking for can be built in the timeframes that they're asking for. So a little bit more collaboration. We need to talk. Industry and government need to talk more at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with what Craig says, is that the construction contributions to these decisions that are being made at the municipal and provincial level, we just need to be part of the equation. The construction ecosystem is vast, and when we talk about climate change, we're talking about our global ecosystem. And when we distill that down to the municipalities, the construction community is a huge part of their ecosystems, and we need to be at the table discussing that. So I would just say that to any listener that you need to be asking your councillors, your candidates, what is their position on the construction industry? Because if they aren't in favor of dialogue or development, or they have to ask them, they have to be asking those tough questions, because we need to be part of the, we are part of the community. We need to be part of the decisions that voters will make on election day.
Okay, and Donna?
And as far as like attracting more people to our industry, construction industry, fair enough, we were part of the problem for many years, but we're now the solution moving forward. And if people want to work for a green industry, construction is now a green industry. Construction is we're not going to be able to stop building places to live and hospitals and schools, and now we're doing those in a green way. And so, come on board in this industry, you can be part of a green industry.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks again.
Thank you.